Before the news begins, take a moment to support the channel. Subscribe right now, press the like button, and share your thoughts in the comments. Many voices from around the world are watching this story unfold, and your opinion matters. Tonight, the world is watching a moment that could change the future of global politics. A new voice has risen in Iran. A new supreme leader has stepped forward. And his very first public message is aimed directly at the United States. This is not a small moment. This is not routine politics. When a new leader in Iran speaks for the first time about America, the message travels far beyond Tehran. It moves through Washington, across Europe, and into every corner of the Middle East. The message came with clear and powerful words, calm but firm, careful but impossible to ignore. The new leader spoke about power, respect, and what he believes must change between Iran and the United States. For years, tension between the two countries has shaped global news. Sanctions, threats, military pressure, and political battles have kept both nations locked in a long and bitter rivalry. Now a new man holds the most powerful position in Iran, and the first question everyone is asking is simple. Will he continue the fight, or will he change the direction? His message did not waste time with long introductions. It went straight to the heart of the conflict. He spoke about America's influence in the world. He spoke about what Iran calls pressure and control. And he spoke about what Iran expects from the United States moving forward. The timing of this message is also important. In Washington, President Donald Trump leads the United States during one of the most tense periods in modern relations with Iran. So when Iran's new supreme leader sends his first signal to America, the world listens very carefully. Because in moments like this, even a few words can shift the balance of power. The new leader began his message by speaking about strength. Not military strength alone, but national strength. The kind of strength a country shows when it refuses to bend under pressure. For many years, Iran has faced heavy economic sanctions from the United States. These sanctions have hurt the Iranian economy, raised prices, and made life harder for many ordinary people. But in his first message, the new supreme leader said Iran will not be broken by pressure. He told his nation that Iran has survived wars, threats, and isolation before. And he said the country will survive this moment as well. Then the message turned directly toward Washington. The new leader said the United States must understand one clear idea. Iran will not accept orders from outside powers. He said Iran will make its own decisions, follow its own path, and protect what it calls its national dignity. These words were strong, but they were also carefully chosen. Because the world expected anger. Many expected shouting. But the tone was different. The message sounded controlled, calm, strategic. And that calm tone made the words even more powerful. Political experts around the world immediately began studying every sentence. Because the first message from a supreme leader is never random. Every word sends a signal. Some signals are meant for the Iranian people. Others are meant for America's leaders. And some are meant for countries across the Middle East that are watching very closely. The question now is simple. Was this the opening line of a new confrontation? Or the beginning of a new political strategy? As the message continued, the new leader spoke about history. He reminded listeners that the relationship between Iran and the United States has been tense for decades. Suspicion, anger, and deep mistrust have shaped the connection between the two nations. From Iran's point of view, the United States has tried to control the region. From Washington's point of view, Iran has threatened stability and security in the Middle East. This clash of views has created one of the most complicated rivalries in modern politics. The new supreme leader said the past cannot be ignored. He spoke about years of sanctions and political pressure. He said Iran remembers every moment when the country felt pushed or threatened by foreign powers. But then the message moved in a surprising direction. Instead of only speaking about the past, the leader spoke about the future. He said the next chapter between Iran and the United States depends on choices made right now. He said if America continues what Iran calls pressure and intimidation, the response will be resistance. But he also suggested something else. He said respect could open a different door. Those words caught the attention of diplomats and analysts around the world. Because in a message that sounded firm and defiant, the idea of respect introduced a small but important possibility. a possibility that the future may not be locked in permanent conflict. Still, no one is rushing to celebrate, because in global politics, words are only the first step. Actions are what truly shape history. While the message was directed at the United States, it was also clearly meant for the Iranian people. The new supreme leader spoke about unity. He said the country must stand together during what he called a critical moment. Economic pressure has created frustration inside Iran. Many families struggle with rising prices, limited jobs, and a difficult financial situation. The leader acknowledged these challenges, but he told the nation that surrendering to outside pressure would only make the situation worse. He framed the struggle as a test of national pride. He said strong nations do not bow when they face hardship. They endure, they adapt, and they protect their independence. These words were designed to strengthen public support, because leadership in Iran depends not only on political authority, but also on public confidence. At the same time, the message carried another signal. It showed the world that the new leader intends to continue Iran's long tradition of resisting foreign pressure. This is a message that many leaders in Washington have heard before. But hearing it again from a new man in power brings fresh uncertainty, because every leader brings a different style. Some lead with confrontation. Others lead with patience and long strategy. The world is now trying to understand which path this new leader will choose. And right now, the answer is still unfolding. Perhaps the most watched moment of the message came near the end. This was when the new supreme leader spoke most directly about the United States and its current leadership. He did not mention names, but the meaning was clear. The message said, Iran will judge America not by speeches, but by actions. That line was repeated several times in different ways. It was a signal that Iran believes many promises have been broken in the past. Agreements made, then abandoned. Talks started, then stopped. From Iran's perspective, trust has been damaged. So the new leader said any future relationship must be built differently. He said pressure will lead to resistance. But respect, he said again, could lead to dialogue. These words immediately caught the attention of leaders in Washington, because President Donald Trump has taken a strong and direct approach toward Iran since returning to power. Sanctions have remained tight. Political pressure has remained high. Now the world is waiting to see how Washington responds to this first message from Iran's new supreme leader. Will the response be tougher pressure, or will there be a moment of cautious diplomacy? The next moves from both sides could shape global politics for years to come. And right now, every government, every intelligence agency, and every political leader is watching closely. Across the Middle East, governments reacted quickly after the message was released. Leaders in the region understand that any change in the relationship between Iran and the United States can affect millions of lives. Oil markets move. Military alliances shift. Diplomatic talks change direction. That is why the first message from Iran's new supreme leader is being studied with extreme attention. Some countries that have long been rivals with Iran listened with concern. They want to know if Iran will become more aggressive in the region. Other nations listened with cautious hope. They want to know if there's any chance for reduced tension. Because when Iran and the United States move toward confrontation, the entire region feels the pressure. Military forces increase. Warnings grow louder. Fear spreads across international markets. Right now, leaders from Europe to Asia are quietly asking the same question. Is this the start of a new chapter of conflict? Or is this the beginning of a long political chess game between Tehran and Washington? One thing is clear. The new supreme leader understands the power of his words. His first message was not emotional. It was calculated. Every sentence appeared designed to show strength at home while leaving a small door open internationally. And now the world is waiting to see if that door will open wider or slam shut. In Washington, the response to the message is already becoming a major topic of discussion. Officials close to President Donald Trump are carefully reviewing the speech. For years, Trump has taken a tough approach toward Iran. Strong sanctions, strong warnings, and clear statements that the United States will not tolerate threats from Tehran. Because of that history, many political observers believe the next American response will be firm. But diplomacy is never simple. Behind the scenes, advisors often study every signal from foreign leaders before deciding how to react. The new Iranian leader spoke about respect. That single word is now being discussed in policy rooms across Washington. Does it mean Iran is offering a small opening for negotiation? Or is it simply another way of demanding that sanctions be removed? These questions matter, because one wrong move from either side could increase tensions very quickly. At the same time, some experts believe both countries may want to avoid direct confrontation. War between two powerful nations would bring massive global consequences. Energy markets would shake. Military alliances would activate, and international stability could face a serious test. So while the public hears speeches and statements, the real conversations may already be happening quietly behind closed doors. Inside Iran, the speech is also shaping the image of the country's new leader. Taking power as supreme leader is one of the most serious responsibilities in the nation. The position carries enormous authority over politics, the military, and foreign policy. Because of this, the first public message often becomes a signal of how the leader plans to rule. In this speech, the tone mixed confidence with patience. There were no rushed threats, no sudden dramatic declarations. Instead, the message focused on endurance. The leader repeated the idea that Iran has survived pressure before and will continue to stand firm. This message was meant to reassure the Iranian public. Many citizens have faced years of economic hardship caused by international sanctions. They want to know whether their future will improve. By speaking about dignity and independence, the leader tried to strengthen national unity. But the challenge ahead is enormous. Running a country under heavy economic pressure requires careful decisions, and every decision will be watched closely, both inside and outside Iran. Because leadership is not measured by speeches alone. It is measured by what happens next. Global analysts are now comparing this speech to the first messages delivered by past Iranian leaders. History shows that early statements often reveal long-term strategy. Some leaders begin their rule with hard confrontation. Others begin with cautious signals that leave room for diplomacy. This new message seems to stand somewhere in the middle. The words were firm, but they were not explosive. The criticism of the United States was clear, but it was not delivered with uncontrolled anger. Instead, the speech sounded like the opening move in a very long political game, one where patience may become the most powerful weapon. For leaders in Washington, this creates a difficult choice. Respond too strongly, and tensions could grow rapidly. Respond too softly, and it could appear as weakness. This delicate balance has shaped relations between Iran and the United States for decades. Now, with a new supreme leader in power, that balance may be entering a completely new phase. And the world is watching each signal like a chess player studying the board. So tonight, one message from Tehran has sent waves across global politics. A new supreme leader has spoken. His first words to the United States have now reached every major capital in the world. The message was simple but powerful. Iran will resist pressure. Iran demands respect. And Iran says the future between the two nations will depend on what happens next. For President Donald Trump and his administration, the decision now becomes critical. Ignore the message, answer with stronger pressure, or test the possibility of cautious diplomacy. Each path carries risks. Each path could shape global stability in the months and years ahead. Moments like this do not happen often. A new leader rises. A new message is delivered. And the world waits for the next move. Because sometimes history changes not with explosions or wars, but with a few carefully chosen words. And tonight, those words have just been spoken.